Good morning. This is Amber, and I got an email yesterday asking if I could share the core practice that I do in the mornings. I've talked about it before in some classes at Root Down, and it's not hardcore. It's very subtle, I guess, what I do. Usually the way that I start my morning is to crawl out of bed, and I guess I brush my teeth first, but then before I go up the stairs in my house from my room down in the basement to greet my family, I start my day with a practice where I lay down on the floor and I do some quiet time breathing, and then I start to move my spine in all the directions that it can move. I do some little arching and flattening movements and some twisting, and then once I feel like my spine is warmed up, maybe I roll in a ball and really feel the squeeze of my stomach muscles, and really I just like wiggle and roll around on the floor. Then I settle in for some stability work, trying to really recruit the deepest muscles of my core to stabilize my pelvis while I move my legs and sometimes my arms, and sometimes I add load with a sandbag or even a small kettlebell. And then after that, sometimes I get up into tabletop and do some moves that would be very familiar to you from Root Down classes, like lifting an arm, lifting a leg, and all of the movement that I do for my core. My focus is just on keeping my pelvis really stable and my breath really easy as I move my limbs. I started doing this a year ago as a daily practice when I was inspired by Carol Gibb, one of our teachers at Root Down. She had been running 1 mile per day every day, and I thought that that was really cool, and I missed running in my own life, but I was at a different place where running wasn't going to work for me. I had just had a hysterectomy, and I was just in recovery mode where the only movement that really felt good in my body was walking, and I didn't even believe that running was something that I was going to be able to return to because of core stability issues, I guess. But I sat with that for a while thinking, well, I can't do that. I can't run. I can't do the cool thing that Carol is doing. And I felt kind of frustrated. And then I came around to a place where I could look at that question differently, look at that situation differently. And instead of saying I can't, I switched my mindset to say, well, what can I do? What could I do as a practice every day and commit to it for a year? And that was just before April 1st. So I count April 1st as my day one. And what I decided to do was a daily core practice. I said to myself, like, I don't really care what it looks like because what it looks like on day one is going to be different, maybe, I thought, than what it looks like on day 365. But I can commit to every day having a morning practice where I start with breathing and I move toward movement and stability, and things will change. I did know that. I did trust that if I committed to doing something every day for a year, that something would change. What I didn't know is that that practice was going to lead me back into strength. So I'm trail running again, which is really cool. Couple months after I started the practice last April 1st, I started mountain biking a little bit. That seemed less impactful than running. And then one day I was walking my dog and she wouldn't move. She was on the trail and being really stubborn. And so I started running to make it more exciting and maybe get her to go with me. And I ran for a 1/4 mile and felt awesome and thought, wow, like that is something that I can do again. And I didn't know that I would be able to do it because my core had felt pretty yucky running before I had the surgery. So I brought the dog home and then I took off immediately running, and I ran like 3 miles and felt so shocked and full of joy that my body was fine doing that. And so I started running pretty regularly after that and kept running and did a 25K hike, walk, run event in the fall, the Hickson 25K race. And I finished it and did a lot more running than I thought that I would. And I've just kept hiking a lot and kept running and done some strength training and gotten back into my vinyasa practice. So all of those things feel good, and I think that they wouldn't have felt good if I hadn't committed to this daily core practice. So I guess in this time when we're all stuck at home, can't go to yoga classes, I just really encourage you to pick something. It doesn't really matter what it is, but pick something and have a daily practice or have a consistent practice of some kind in your house. And it will turn into more over time if you love it. So start with what you love. If there is a part of a yoga class that was your favorite part, start with that. And just try moving, try noticing your body, see what you feel. I've put off making this video, or I think it might become a series of videos about core, because frankly, I don't have video editing skills or equipment to make videos that are polished. I have a Chromebook and I have to convert all the files into a format that can upload to YouTube. So I think what I'm going to do is just stop this video and then I'll start a new one that just goes into the practice. But this is just the story of like where my morning core practice started. And then I'll hopefully put together a little series of movement videos that are short, 5 to 10 minutes, focused on the core, that you can do at home when you're just looking for something, maybe a starting point that gets you into more. So good luck. I miss you, and I look forward to being together in person again.